Greetings, Spartans. Welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to look at how to create a custom pattern, and everything I do here will be what you will be creating for your project that will be due at the end of this period, or you'll get a few more minutes beginning of tomorrow's period. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, File, New, and you'll have an option for this. You can do a 7 width, 5 height, or you can reverse that and do 5 for the width and 7 for the height. Make sure you see inches for the units. Okay, you're going to do first initial last name underscore custom pattern and click OK. Okay, now first thing we want to do in order to create this pattern, as I wait for my file, there it is, we're going to go back to new, and we're just going to create a 5x5 square canvas. You don't need to name this one. This will be our pattern making canvas. Alright, I'm going to take my pen tool for this, and we're going to click on the canvas. Right away you should see a shape layer. If you don't see a shape layer, make sure up in the options bar you choose this first icon to the left. If you hover over it, it says shape layers. Make sure you're on this icon. Okay? Alright, so you see the first anchor point that creates that shape layer, and all you're going to do is you're going to create a shape. Now you might realize that I am creating some curvatures in my shape. I'll show that again. What you want to do first is just click to anchor. Then if you were to hold your mouse click and drag your pen, you'll see that you can curve the edge of that shape. Otherwise, you can just do single clicks, and that'll just give you straight line segments. Okay, so this will be the design of my first element. I went ahead and I clicked up at that initial anchor. You have to do that in order to close that shape. You'll notice in the shape mask that the entire white shape is enclosed by a black outline. That will give you the clue that you did indeed close that shape. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do Control T and just resize it a little bit and hit return. Now I'm going to go to my move tool, move that in place, and now I'm going to use the new function similar to the Control T function, but it's going to be Control Option T. And what that does, that additional key option will copy whatever you do. In other words, it'll copy this element, but there's a few things I'm going to be doing first. I'm going to first move that center rotation device down below the object itself, and I'm going to rotate it equally. How do I do that? In other words, I want this element to rotate around this center point, and I want it to be spaced out equally. The way you do that is you come up here in the options bar, and you can see where it has that little symbol showing the degrees. We know that there are 360 degrees in a circle, and so what I want is to type in a number that will easily divide into 360, or it will divide in equally. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 30, and right away you'll see that my object moves 30 degrees. Now had I gone minus 30, it would go the other way. Okay, don't forget you can do that also. I'll just keep it at minus, and 30 goes into 360 12 times. So when I hit return, I'm going to hit it twice, in fact, and then I'm going to hold down the Shift, Control, and the Option key, and then with my right hand I'm going to hit the letter T, and it's going to go all the way around that circle 12 times. And you can see, in fact, you have 12 individual units repeating themselves. And so if you do that, if you type in that number, you'll have a much better appearance instead of something that looks a little bit haphazard, a little bit random, and it just makes the pattern a little bit more interesting. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click into the background and then click back into the layer. That seems to help create a better function. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then I'm going to do Control T. And of course, I did exactly what I didn't want to do. I don't want this individual unit selected. I want the entire object selected. So I need to hit Return. Again, I go into the background and then go back into the shape. So I'm not selecting either the mask layer or the color. If you just click on the shape, then you'll see that nothing is selected here. Then I can do Control T, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold down Shift and Option at the same time. What that will allow me to do is resize my object, and you can see how the bounding box gets smaller, but it maintains its center position, and that's where the option helps you. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this. And you can kind of see it, but because it's purple, it's hard to see. But I'm going to color this differently. I'm going to hit Return to Apply. And now I'm going to color this inner shape a little bit differently. And there it is. You can choose any color you want. I'll choose this wonderful green. I say OK. I'm going to do Control J again. And I'm going to click somewhere in the layer. I'm going to click outside and then back in. Actually, background seems to do the trick. So again, click the background and then go back into that layer, and it seems to help. I'm going to do Control T one more time. I'm going to rotate it a little bit more, and then I'm going to bring it in. So I'm going to hold down Shift and Option and hit Return. And I'm going to go ahead and color that and say OK. I like that effect. So I'm going to go ahead and select all these layers. So I'm going to Shift click the bottom layer. Not the background, but the bottom shape. After selecting all the layers, I'm going to group it, Control G. That just makes it more easily manageable. So I'm going to go ahead and do Control T and just size that up a little bit more. And holding Option, it'll keep it centered. Okay? Looks good. Just nudge it a little bit and hit Return. And then I'm going to color the background, Option Delete. And that should do it for my pattern. Now I'm going to go up to Edit, go down to Define Pattern, and click OK. No reason to name it unless you really want to. I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to minimize this window and go into my main file. This is the file that you're going to be sending to me. So you know that I have two files. But the one with the name is the one you keep, the one that gets graded. So now I'm going to locate the custom shape, go into the custom shape tool, and up in the options bar you will see this arrow. But what you want to do is you want to get the rest of those shapes that are in the gallery. So click All and click Append. Since I already have this, I don't need to do that. I'm going to go into this butterfly shape. You choose any three shapes you want. I'm going to hold Shift so it doesn't warp or distort. And next thing I'm going to do is go into the shape layer and click in this blue area. Don't click the name because that'll just edit the name. Go into Pattern Overlay. Select the pattern that you just made. You'll find it in the bottom portion of the gallery. And then I'm going to scale mine down, and I find my really nice pattern there, and I'll say OK. You might also want to give it a drop shadow. I'm going to also put bevel and emboss on there. That's kind of a neat effect. That gives it sort of a pillowy effect. Say OK. And so what you're going to want to do is create two more shapes with your gallery of shapes here. I don't care which ones you choose, just choose two more. And then, of course, you're going to want to, sorry about that, you're going to want to go into the other file and create 2 more patterns. And it can be any way, anything you want, color it differently. I recommend creating that background color as well. Just gives that overall effect just a little more powerful. And then, of course, you're going to also give a layer color. I'd like you to choose a gradient, and I'll show you how to do that in another video. Okay? That's all I have for now. And okay, and this is the end result. You see I have 2 additional shapes with 2 embedded patterns. After that, you're going to want to go ahead and create a gradient for your background. And that's it. Don't forget to flatten your image and send to my folder. Good luck.